Prince Nnamdi Azikiwe University to join us on the program. And it is on World Consumers Rights Day, which takes place every 15th of March every year. And I have with me guests from the department. I have Dr. Obinna Ojiako. He is the head of department marketing, Unity. Good morning, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the program. I also have Dr. Azubike Anidu, who is director MICTU Unity. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be expecting someone, another guest, but he will be joining us over the phone. I think he's Mr. Chukwudi Edoga is the one. Okay, he is the managing director of Digital Dreams, and we're also expecting another guest live on the station. And of course, when he comes in, we'll introduce you to him. Now, moving on to what we have on the schedule. We say today is World Consumers Rights Day. So, can you give us an overview of what this function or ceremony entails?
All right. Thank you very much. The World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated globally, March 15th every year by Consumer International and the World Bodies. And the essence of the World Consumer Rights Day is to create awareness about consumer awareness about some of the consumers' rights. Consumers to know their rights and create awareness about some of the companies and manufacturers. And for this year, the idea for this year's program is to sensitize consumers about the merits and demerits about artificial intelligence, and the team is to create a responsible artificial intelligence for consumers. And what's inspired the team is the generative artificial intelligence like ChatGPT and Pi on WhatsApp and things like that. So these technologies, we know that they've been advancing at a breakneck speed. You have issues of deepfakes. Somebody can clone your voice, somebody can bring your picture, put in a video, and before you know it, it will look as if you are the one in that video. And these things have implications, even for companies. You agree with me that organizations have things like chatbots, we have service robots, all these things, they have interface with consumers. Companies use them to serve consumers. Consumers use them to either consume goods and services. So the implications of how consumers use these things, and even from the computer science perspective, the algorithm and everything behind it, how the designers of this artificial intelligence need to take care of when they design this intelligence. They need to be mindful of making sure that the consumers have that these artificial intelligence are responsibly used, and that they don't create privacy issues for consumers as they use them. So that's the basic idea behind this. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Now, looking at the theme, like you mentioned, you said it's fair and responsible AI for consumers. Now, I'm one person that I all over the internet. I already know that, of course, for everything, most of the times I am very, very particular about the things I read or the things I actually engage in when it comes to internet, because I know that, of course, every other thing is AI, and you keep hearing it and all that. So I want to come to you, Dr. Zubiki. Can you throw more light on what AI is?
Okay, artificial intelligence is a system that is designed to mimic human intelligence.
Okay.
So when machines are programmed to act or behave like humans, we call that artificial intelligence. So basically, that's in a nutshell what AI is.
Okay. Now, can you say it's somewhat like a criminal kind of something? Because if I believe that when someone clones someone without the person's permission, it's somewhat like a criminal engagement. So, can you say it is actually a criminal engagement?
Okay, AI is one of the best things that has happened to the world in recent times,
Okay.
next to electricity, because it has helped humans to be able to do things that were elsewhere unthinkable. it makes work easier. It helps you to create things that with your own. Human beings are wonderful. Our brains are exquisite.
Okay.
However, we are still slow in a number of ways. So to be able to still do what humans can do, but at the speed of light, that is what AI brings to the table. However, so it is not a bad thing in itself, but like with every invention, there is this propensity of it being abused or used for what it was not meant for. So that is the area of talking about fair and responsible AI.
Okay. We'll come to that shortly. While the program was going on, another guest joined us in the person of Venerable Professor Anna Ayom Kamnebe. He is a professor of marketing. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Okay.
Okay, before you joined us, HOD has already talked about, he has given us an overview of what World Consumers' Rights Day stands for. And of course, Dr. Anigo also talked about what AI stands for. Now, I want us to look at the thing properly because for everything that goes on in the world, there's always a buyer and a seller. And of course, if the rights of the buyer, the consumer, is not protected, then that means there won't be any transaction. So I want, what really inspired the theme of this year's celebration? That's the fair and responsible AI for consumers.
Yeah, thank you very much. I like the way you constructed the narrative, the question, that there's a relationship between the buyer and the seller. And in an environment such as ours, the sellers are much more empowered.
Okay.
They own the technology.
Okay.
They own the AI. They own everything and can use it to their advantage. So when we are, the consumer are scattered population. They don't have a common force.
Okay.
So we in marketing seems to have discovered long ago that the sellers use their advantage to exploit the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the best technology, they tailor it to the advantage. Like in the AI, for example, AI is not a human being on itself. AI is a machine protocol.
Okay.
That is acting the way humans have designed them to act through the process of algorithm. Mm-hmm. So what we are emphasizing here that the seller should not usurp their position to construct algorithms that will exploit the helpless consumers.
Okay.
Or when trying to use these algorithms and technologies, they should do it in such a way that it should be fair, responsible to consumers and to themselves too. Because when the consumer is exploited in the short run and destroyed, if there's no consumer, there'll be no consumption, everybody is there to buy. So we are here to talk about equitable growth in all sides. So that is what kind of inspired this Consumers' Rights Day, because we're looking at what are the rights of the consumers within the ecosystem of AI. And we're here to advocate that the AI should be used in the most fair and the responsible manner.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, you made mention of the authority the seller wields when it comes to the marketplace, and of course that the buyers are scattered all over the place. Now, for consumers that feel or that felt cheated somehow in the past, are there ways these things can be addressed?
Yeah, that is why government comes in through regulation.
Okay.
And enforcement. Do you understand? That is where they come in. But sometimes, for reasons that may be beyond the scope of our discussions, these institutions are not, so to say, up to speed. Okay. With their responsibilities. In this country, we have the Agency for Competitiveness and Consumer Protection. Okay. The question there is that, are they doing what they ought to do? Then, within the broader scope, where you have multinationals from North America and all these developed countries, you see that they are even more powerful than most governments in Africa. So what they do is to kind of influence
the entire process to their advantage. They sponsor the people that are going to the house, they sponsor the people that are making these laws, so that even the regulation is somewhat either tilted to the advantage of the seller or not enforced, or that the seller has the capacity to influence the enforcement.
Okay.
But the consumers, from what you've asked, supposed to be protected by the government and institutions of government
Okay.
through regulation.
Okay. Thank you so much. And now I want us to come home a little. This particular AI, is it like, is there a way it's being incorporated in teaching marketing? Maybe for students that are interested in learning AI, is it part of the curriculum within the school?
Okay, yes. Before now, our department is known as Department of Marketing.
Okay.
But this year, the the Senate graciously approved that the name of the department will now change to Department of Marketing and E-commerce. The essence of e-commerce is to bring in the aspect of the fourth or even the fifth revolution. Like as we can mention that is the next in efficiency to electricity. So the idea is to broaden, we've already broadened our curriculum to infuse elements of the digital revolution, the AI revolution the into our curriculum and programs. And very soon we'll be developing or releasing a specific program that is tailored into meeting. I think it is called the BAC in digital marketing or social media marketing. You know, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. If you just joined the program, this is an interaction between myself and, of course, my guest from the Department of Marketing in Nnamdi Azikiwe University. We also have a guest from the MICT unit, Dr. Azubike Anyedu, and we are talking about World Consumer Rights Day, which takes place every 15th of March every year. And of course, the theme of this year's celebration is fair and responsible AI for consumers. Now, let's look at the merits and demerits of this AI. And also, I have someone, a guest to Edoga Digital. Am I right? Mr. Chukwudi Edoga, he's also on the phone. Mr. Chukwudi, are you on? Okay, thank you so much, sir. Now, I'm sure you've been following us, and we're talking about the AI and everything that has to do with AI and marketing. So now, do you have a contribution to make before I ask the next question? Okay. 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 Mm. Okay. Oh. Mm. Thank you so much, sir. in case you want to join the program, rather, you can call us on 081 I repeat, 081 Let us know what you think about the topic of discussion. Now, moving on to the merits and demerits of AI, like Mr. Doga mentioned some of the merit he just glided through, but I want us to look in depth because a lot of persons, I for one person, I have my reservations about AI. That most times I try to confirm, even down to transactions made in the bank. I want to be very sure that okay, this is true before I can confirm anything. So, what are the merits and demerits of this AI, and what do you think? Um, what do you think are the effects or impact it has had on marketing as a field? Which should you say?
All right, thank you very much. When we talk about the merits, one of the merits of artificial intelligence is the speed and efficiency with which it eases work.
Okay.
Um, for our students, for some of us in the academics, when we research, we write papers, we use things like Grammarly to check for errors in our write-ups.
Okay.
And we also use ChatGPT to even generate outline and things like that. So it makes work a lot easier. These are some of the advantages of AI. But from the consumer perspective, we've seen companies deploy things like service robots. We've seen chatbots. We've seen banks introduce, for instance, UBA said it's Leo. There's a company, Premium Pension, they said it's Prima. These are technologies that have been introduced to ease transaction and to make services rendering convenience to consumers. Now, I didn't get to the second question again.
I'm checking. I want us to look at the merits and demerits and how it impacts on the marketing as a field.
Okay. Now, concerning the impact of artificial intelligence in marketing, and like some of the things I mentioned, service robots. Now, service organizations, they deployed these robots to serve customer, which is part of customer service. Now, there are other areas, like even in logistics and supply chain, there are tracking systems put in place, usually coded with artificial intelligence to help track goods as they move from the point of production to where they're being delivered.
Okay.
So for marketers, there's a whole lot of avenues where companies deploy artificial intelligence to assist their services and even to make services rendering easier to consumers.
Okay.
So these are some of the areas where AI has implication for marketing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I want to differentiate. I want to differentiate between the technology and its use.
Okay.
There are two different things. The technology is near perfect. Do you understand?
Okay.
But I think the worry here from the marketing perspective is its use, which the computer guru, as we can mention, in terms of abuse. And usually, when companies are left unregulated, they will always want to exploit the market because of that mercantile capitalist tendency in everyone. Otherwise, the technology has eased off a whole lot of things. Take, for example, content generation. As we are talking, I can be creating content at the same time that would capture my market. That's what we call market segmentation. How do we know what aspect of the demography are interested in your product or service? These things can effortlessly do it at limited or no cost. But when it comes to issues like being fair to the consumer, like I said, the algorithms are developed by humans. They do what you tell them to do. So if they are structured in such a way that they will hide certain information from the consumer, it will affect his or her decision-making capacity. It will be taking decision based on what the AI has provided.
Okay.
And sometimes the issue of privacy, before you know it, the information you filled in another platform you supplied to your company is now circulating all over the world. And the companies that you don't even know will be bombarding you with all sorts kind of marketing materials. So at this level, consumers start to feel that they are no longer safe. And also, companies might hide the negative side of the use, especially Nigerian banks. They will give you a whole lot of documents and ask you to sign. I bet you 99% of people who sign those things don't read it, including me. But by the time the AI stuff will abuse you, they will tell you you signed it, that all liabilities are on your head. That is why we must differentiate between the AI and its use. I think it is its use that we are bothered here, and which we hope should be directed towards the welfare of the consumers.
Okay, I want to chip in something here. You know, there has been a lot of conversation on fair and responsible AI, and also even consumer rights. For a lot, but what I wanted to point out here is that AI is growing at an astronomical rate, and governments are overwhelmed by the rate of its growth. Even governments in the West are not able to get a hold of it, such that regulating it becomes a real problem, even for developed world. So there is this growing unrest among the population that are using AI, interest groups, and all sorts of groups that are raising their voices, you know, to be able to find a way to curb the use. But then this is a matter of human beings doing things to human beings. So until we are, I think the emphasis should be on advocacy for people to, you know, think before they do whatever they do. AI is good. When you use it for good, it is actually beautiful.
Absolutely.
But then when you use it for bad, it is very bad.
This actually takes us back to what is usually known as CSR, corporate social responsibilities, humanistic management, ethical management, ethical marketing. Companies has this ethical responsibility to behave ethically, because the focus here is on companies, because they own these technologies, they afford it, they pay people like Azubike them to develop the algorithms for them and tell them this is what they want. So they should have this human mind, knowing fully well that if they exploit consumers, in the short run, it will benefit them. But in the long time, both the consumers will become incapable of buying. And you see drop in consumption. And both the economy of the companies. That is why in countries that understands this broader perspective to business, they, while trying to take decision, also know that it is a good business. It makes good business sense to protect consumers from abuse, so that you keep the consumers for the economy. So I think the focus here is on the use, whether through moral suasion or through legislation, like as we rightly pointed out. AI, the way it's going, and from the little I know, it is still at this embryonic stage.
Whoa. Yes.
It has just started. It has not even started.
Just scratch the surface.
In fact, the leaders, protagonists in the field are even afraid that by the time AI begins to be conscious of itself, it will turn human beings to slaves.
And that's exactly what the another point I needed us to talk about when it comes to manual labor now, because most of the things that we do now, people do it for themselves. But don't you think that, like you said, it just crashed the surface? At some point, people will be evicted of their field of work, where we don't need you again. So something or somebody somewhere has done the job for you already.
Hadibi, we have a display here. Would have shown you a robot that harvest rice in the field. Do you understand? At a speed far faster than that of humans. you know. So from the from the perspective of the IT specialists, like Azubuike there, the extent AI will go depends on on the ingenuity on the of the builders of the algorithms. But they are warning. I think it was Elon Musk who said that if we are not very careful, these things we are building, it's like building a monster. It's like training a puppy dog or puppy lion in your house, feeding it. At that point, it will be
Very loyal.
very loyal to you. That one day, if they become self-aware, that those things you've created in them begins to maybe interact at a rate you never anticipated, they might begin to work against us. And that again, even before then, this idea of addiction. If you are using AI platforms these days, you will see that once you don't have data to work, you're almost handicapped. You can't work. You are waiting for this AI, NEPA to come. You are waiting for data to come so that you can start work again. You know, activate all these working tools because there are many, many of them. And that way, you may discover that what you used to do naturally before may no longer be there. It's just like the calculator we were using. Some people, when we were in school, we did what they call mental arithmetic. We were taught how to do complex additions and multiplication. But these days, you can't even do 12 times 13 because you don't even need to punch because you just mention it.
Oh.
Voice recognition devices, AIs. Just mention it and it will tell you. But what if it goes to it gets to
I don't know if
yeah.
I want to add to this conversation. Prof did mention some interesting things, and from your question, I do not think that we should be worried about people losing their jobs.
Okay.
After all, when automobile came, when industrial revolution came, people lost their job, but people always bounce back. There is always a work for a human to do, irrespective of how much machines have taken over the place. But what we should be worried about is AI being self-aware, like you said, getting to the point that it now makes humans slaves. When it becomes conscious of itself, and if perchance at that point it becomes corrupted to become evil,
Okay.
then we should be worried.
In fact, somebody mentioned that the forthcoming election in the US, that there's possibility that human voters will be, that's the way they put it, will be created by AI. So that when you think that it is the humans that are voting,
They should not come to Nigeria.
so but these things cannot be possible if we have human beings, because it is human beings that engineers these algorithms.
Okay.
That is the point I think we are trying to put here. That human beings who are doing these things should not just do it to exploit the ignorant masses.
Okay.
They should use it as a fair and responsible tool to promote humanity, not just personal profits, or maybe the growth of the organization, or to put somebody at a disadvantage.
Mr. Dog, are you there? Okay, so we are looking at how to curb the menace of abusing AI. So do you have a contribution for that? Okay. 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 virus. Okay, thank you so much sir, for your contribution. Now, I want us to look at now. Okay, we've talked about our fears when it comes to this AI and its growth and all that. So now, can we look at the policies and regulations to checkmate people? Because since humans create AI, so now we have to check humans first before humans can check AI. So are there policies that are already on ground or that we're expecting to be put in place to be sure that people creating these things do not abuse it?
Yeah, in a different platform, we're discussing something like this, and the the general consensus seems to appear that at this stage, there is still really no the regulation that is robust enough set in place to tackle these things. Because if you look at it, it's just coming up, and it is so dispersed that the usage is not just confined to one geographical location. It is everywhere. So if you are regulating the one that is happening here, you may not regulate the one that is happening the other side. And globalization has fused the entire globe into making it one small village. So, but then I think many stakeholders, government, professional associations are already thinking and building up something that will at least help to minimize or reduce, not to eliminate the abuses. But one thing I think this panel is advocating is for us humans to use every tool that comes to us for the good of humanity. That is the highest regulation that will come with regards to this.
Thank you so much, sir. That's more like appealing to our consciences.
Absolutely.
Use your church mind in anything you are doing. Use your church mind. Oh, okay, now let's come down to the school. Are there events? Are there events that that is being put in place for this particular World Consumers Rights Day?
Well, now for this event, where it's a major event,
Okay.
because last year we did an event on campus. But this time around, because we know that the airwave is much broader,
Okay.
we feel that we should use these opportunities to sensitize listeners about this AI, because some listeners may be asking, what is this AI? Thank God I'm not using it without knowing that
You're already
that they're already inside it. Because it is constructed such that you may call a company a phone line, and you think that the person talking to you is a human being.
That has always been my thought. Anyway, growing up.
Without knowing that the person is a machine.
Yeah.
It's a program, it's an algorithm that is talking to you. So no, everybody's inside it. And when it becomes more broadly aware, people should understand that it's a tool and not to see it as a Armageddon, as the technology from the hell of pit of hell. Not at all. Like as we mentioned, it is a gift. So it's an ingenious gift God has given us in this generation to better our life. The people that came before us didn't know about it. Zeke, in all his wisdom, if he is resurrected now, and you ask him what is AI, he will be looking at your face. Odumegwu Ojukwu, all these big names that we respected when they were for the intelligence, they don't know these things. It is just coming to us. So by the time as we are this, so to answer your question, what we are now doing for this year is to sensitize the people, and we will follow it up with other structured programs within the year to be sure that as part of our corporate social responsibility as a university through the department, it's not we as a department, the university, because the VC is aware of this event. He is the chief host.
Okay.
So if we succeed in creating better understanding and then influencing the use, ethical use of AI, I think we have done great.
Richard, do you have a contribution?
Yes, there was a question you asked about policy regulation, and I want to contribute to that. If you recall, if you go online to browse at times, you will see something pop up. We call it cookies.
Cookies, accept or decline.
Initially, it was automatic. You must have to accept.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not, you must have to accept. But with regulations, some companies started making there were options, mandating companies to give options to reject. So these are
You know, sometimes when you don't reject, you can't accept that
You cannot. You must have to accept it.
True. So these things are some of the attempts being made by regulatory bodies to checkmate these things. And from the marketing perspective again, there's something we call retargeting. If you go to Gmail, for instance, maybe you want to know the price of laptop, and you go to Gmail, for instance, and you check HP X360, and maybe you go to social media to do some other things, now they see adverts everywhere. Everywhere. So these are some of the things we're talking about. For the consumers, those adverts, they are intrusive, they can be annoying. Now, how do we get companies to, just like I mentioned earlier, allowing people to have the option of I can see advert, I can see advert. We know companies make money from adverts because some of these things are free, but there should be an option for consumers to say, okay, I don't want to see adverts, I want to see adverts, or I want to pay, I don't want to pay. So these are some of the things that we are advocating for.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think we'll be rounding off because we're out of time already. But the truth is, this has been very engaging, and for our listener out there that is ignorant of the fact that I don't know what AI is, the Venerable mentioned it. You're already living in it. You are using it. It's there in your phone. Every part of your life has AI pointing at you, and this is a program that has created much more awareness on AI and what it entails and how we should be aware of the do's and don'ts of this AI. And for every other person that is in the ICT field, please work with your conscience. If you must do these magics, don't create a monster because it will come back to haunt you and me at the long run. Okay, our final word to our listener, please. Doctor, I need you.
Okay, final word, I would say that AI is good, but like we said, we should use it responsibly. If you are gathering data, be sure what data you are gathering and where you are using it, how you are using it. It's responsible for every one of us, whether you're a consumer or a supplier. We must be human. Like
It is for us to act with human, they call it with your church mind. Once we do that, you see that God has created everything for our good. We should not take advantage of the vulnerable. And ultimately, it makes a better business sense for everybody.
Thank you so much, Venerable. HOD.
Right. My concluding thoughts. I want to remember a movie I watched some time ago. I think Man versus Virus.
Okay.
And it brings to light some of these fears of this machine taking over and seizing everything that man used to operate. So as this the computer scientists, as the programmers create these things, I will just have to repeat my advice. Please use your judgment. And consumers, we need to be aware that whether we like it or not, we are also using these artificial intelligence. So we need to be mindful of how we provide information. We need to do our due diligence in providing information to organizations when we sign documents, especially when it has to do with using IT and internet-related devices. So those are my conclusions.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Doga. Okay, your final word to the listener. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on the program through the phone. Okay, my name is Nkem Uchendo, and I've been your uncle for this great interview with my guest. I have with me Dr. Obinna Ojiako. He is the head of department marketing Unizik. Also, Dr. Zubike Aniedu. He is the director MICTU Unizik, and Mr. Chinedu Edoga. He joined us on the phone. He is the MD Digital Dreams, and Venerable Professor Anna Young Kamnebe. He is also a professor of marketing in the Department of Marketing, Nnamdi Azikiwe University. All of them came here to make sure that we do justice to this year World Consumer Rights Day, which takes place every 15th of March every year. Thank you so much for listening, and do well to be aware, like they said, that whatever it is you, most of the things you use or apply are AI generated. So please be sure of whatever information you give out, especially when it comes to all these Google forms and all that you fill on the internet, so that you don't cry wolf at the end of the day. Because through this, a lot of policies to checkmate these things are not there yet. So we just have to be security conscious of all the things we do over the internet. And that is enough for me. And do well to keep listening to Unizik 94.1 FM. Today is Friday, and of course, we'll have a lot of fun-filled day with you on radio, because I have a lot of songs to make sure you have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. So from me, it is bye for now.